Hello and welcome to the fourth round of the 2010 Britcar Championship. Cars and drivers star this weekend at one of the most picturesque circuits in the UK here at Combe as part of the Rapid Racking Summer Racing Carnival. It's just 90 minutes on the circuit today and it's an incredibly tricky one too, so it should provide some serious action.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet, yeah. Make you wanna move.
Since our last show, the Britcar Championship has ventured north to Croft, where there was some great racing to be had. Robinson and Gamsky took the overall win for the third successive race this year. Here's Keith to tell us more.
We went there for practice and we did okay in practice, and we had a crown wheel failure in the gearbox. So we missed out in qualifying, had to start at the back of the grid. There wasn't a big grid at Croft, but you know, it was the first time we've been there for a long time and we sort of won, and it was good.
Britcar is going from strength to strength, and the latest addition to the fleet is a brand new hospitality centre that encompasses all things Britcar. With Le Mans now over, focus now switches to the next 24-hour race, the Britcar 24-hour at Silverstone. Huge excitement is building from both regulars and new teams alike. You can check out the entry list at britcar24hour.co.uk. And finally, if you're wondering what's happened to Ben, I've tied him up and put him under the table. Couldn't resist. We're doing really well so far in the MJC Ferrari. You're starting out first today on what I'm sure will be a challenging circuit for you here at Combe. How do you think the car's going to adapt, and what are you going to do?
It's going to be very hard work. It's very, very bumpy. Hopefully the car will warm up, the tyres will get warm pretty quickly, and then we'll go for it. But that's really what it's down to. It's a very bumpy circuit. It's not for this car. Dave,
at the moment, you're second in your class, but you're obviously a fair way back through the grid. You've got a little bit of a field to get through. Do you think you're actually going to want to do that, or are you going to try and keep it fairly steady today?
Well, the whole idea of this racing series is endurance racing. So going in early at the start and trying to fight our way through the pack is not a good idea, really, especially with this type of circuit. We're second in class. I think that's good. We've got the Seat behind us for some reason on the grid at the moment, but if we can hold him behind us, I think we'll do okay.
And you think the Honda is suited to this circuit at Combe?
It is. This is a unique situation for us, really, because we weren't really planning to race this car. We have a new car back at the factory in Swindon, and unfortunately she's not ready yet, but we've brought her out of retirement, and she's done us proud today.
So you're looking forward to the race. Now, you're a local boy, obviously, so you know Combe. How much advantage do you have over all the other drivers here who might not have had as much experience on this track?
Oh, I think, yeah, we've got some good benefits here. We've been here testing quite regularly. The circuit are very good to us here. It's a difficult circuit, but it's a circuit which you need a good, powerful car for. There's a long straight here, and if you've got a good car that's set up well, that's also an advantage. Fortunately, the Civic is not best in the power stakes, but we all do okay again.
It's an agile car.
It's an agile car, yeah, indeed.
And that's what you need on this circuit. Martin, how nervous do you get, seeing as you're the one that kind of looks after the situation as far as the team's concerned?
Clearly you want Dave to look after the car, clearly, because you've got to use it again. Money is still tight, so we're trusting him this time, though. We're confident he'll be fine with this one this time.
David, back of the grid, so you've got quite a lot of work to do, and you've already had a couple of problems with the car, haven't you?
Yes, well, we qualified quite well, but for some reason they've put us on the back. But lap times, we're pretty up there. I think we should be around about 10th, 11th, 12th place. So the car, we had a big problem yesterday right at the end of qualifying. The whole wheel assembly came apart and the wheel actually sheared in two. But luckily we managed to fix the car and everything feels all right. So I just have to scythe my way through, as they say.
Well, the car's fairly suited to the track, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty bumpy out there, but you've got a short wheelbase, so you should be all right?
Yeah, no, it felt great yesterday. I mean, the car's working really well, performing well. In fact, hopefully we can embarrass some of the classes above us and have some fun. But it almost gives me a little bit more fun, shall we say, to start at the back, and we'll see how we get on.
The safety car's ready to go, so are the drivers. Here's Ben with the action.
Welcome to Castle Combe. The cars are on the rolling up lap for this relative sprint of a Britcar race. Aaron Scott and Aaron Williams on pole position, and there is the Marcos on the front row as well. Witgamski third. We've got a start delay board, and that is due to that car, the JMH Ferrari, not getting off the line, and we'll have to start from the pit lane if they can get the car going. Here to start the races, and Marcos has made a great start from the front. We've got 3 onboard cameras, 1 on the Dave Phillips new BMW M3. This is the TVR Cigaris of Glyn and Hood, and then we're also on board with Adams and Green in their Seat Leon Cupra 2008, and they're already making progress right at the back of the field in qualifying, and that was Aaron Scott just starting the race. So already massive drama. The TVR didn't get away either, and he's having to make up ground, passing the Mitsubishi of Gary First there to the left-hand side, and over the start-finishing line for the first time. Already problems in the pits, and that's Gino Usi, a winner in the Production Cup this year. And they've got problems. Black flag for another BMW, the 1 Series of Brunswick Automotive, with a floppy exhaust. So, time to take a breath. It really is absolutely frantic out there. 90 minutes and everyone desperately racing flat out. It's creating great battles on circuit. Won't be so much pit lane activity. And that was the Porsche of Morcillo and Citrano going past. They were having lots of attention from behind, though. It was Chris Headlam in the Lotus, right tucked up behind him. Problems also for Dave Allen in the Honda Civic. The Synchro Motorsport car is in the pits, and they've got the computers out, so that doesn't bode well whatsoever. Here is the leader of the race, Huggins, aboard his green Marcos Mantis, and commanding it so far, doing really well through the traffic as he comes up behind our onboard camera. Look how menacing that looks, lights ablaze. It's a very fast circuit around here, and difficult to find the right line to go past. The TVR Cigar is doing well, and at the moment lying in second spot. There is a third place car, and that is Cameron and Nima, and then behind them it is the Cunningham Seat battling with Mick Mercer in the Giannetta G50. The first time we've seen that car racing this year. It's had so many engine problems. He's showing that with Gary Smith this weekend. And there is a Lotus and Porsche still going side by side. Chris Headlam, and a little slide from the Porsche going through the chicane there, but starting to stretch a little bit of a lead. Looks like Mick Mercer's also stretched away from the Seat, on board with another Seat, and that doesn't look very fast through the chicane. Oh, dearie me, look at the steering angle. He's having to input the car to try and get it straight in the pits, and they've changed the front left tyre. Having a look also at the axle to see if there's any problems with that, because the tyre was slightly damaged, but there was no real reason for it to be damaged. Car dropped off the jacks and back out on circuit. Let's see if that's solved the issue. So many issues for this Bull Run Seat this year. Accelerating out the pits with David Green aboard, and oh dear, already steering angle being put into the car. I don't think that's fixed it, and that could be a retirement. Aaron Scott frustratingly driving the JMH Ferrari 430 GT3 car, which is on pole position, and the time absolutely mighty. He's starting to get used to driving the Ferrari, not used to it at the start of the year. We're on board with the TVR following his teammate, and that teammate is smoking. It was going so well, second position for the yellow TVR, but now smoke coming out the side of the car, its pace has dropped off, and indeed he pulls into the pits. So problems for Glyn and Head, and the yellow flag out just as they pull into the pits. In fact, we've got yellow flags all the way around the circuit. That is why, because it looks like Javier Morcillo has pulled the car off to the side of the circuit without a rear left wheel. Dreadful, dreadful luck. And that has encouraged everyone to come into the pits and make their driver change. Probably a little too early, but most people, and it's going to be absolute bedlam in there. Jamie Stanley changing with Chris Headlam in the Lotus. They were one of the early stops. Now they've got to try and beat the safety car out of the pit lane so they don't drop a lap down. A few cars haven't made stops. The Lotus is already out on track as the MJC Ferrari comes in. Witgamski comes in from third position. And here is the TVR Cigaris we were on board with, also pulling into the pits. Witgamski out, Keith Robinson in, And the TVR also going out, but the red light is on the end of pit lane. Safety car coming through, and that is a Ferrari out ahead of the Marcos Mantis. That is massive, because that's a change for the lead of the race, or it would have been if Aaron Scott had come into the pits, but he hasn't. Scott then leads the race, and all the rest of them now catching up. Will be going green very shortly. Everyone can now sigh in relief after they safely exit the pits.
Well, we're halfway through, and because the safety car was out, a lot of cars came in and it got very dramatic in the pit lane. They're all back out now, refueled, so join us after the break.
Welcome back to Castle Combe in Wiltshire for the Britcar 90-minute race. We've just had a safety car, but we're back racing under green conditions now, and it's Aaron Scott that leads. He hasn't pitted yet, but he did have problems at the start of the race. Jamie Stanley just behind, very fast in the Lotus, but it's a lap down, having got caught out by the safety car conditions, and now he's pushing very, very hard. Just behind them is the M-Tech Ferrari, and then it is Keith Robinson in the MJC, the white Ferrari 430 GTC car, and he'll be looking to make a lot of progress.
Javier, that's a little bit disappointing. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it's very disappointing, really. The race was going to plan to us, and I don't know exactly what broke, but I lost the rear wheel. And well, I was lucky enough not to go off in that corner, because it would have been very bad for the car. And I don't know exactly what was wrong, but they're trying to put the car back into the race to do at least 40% of the race and get the points for the championship.
Yeah, Javier Morcillo, one of the drivers that is competing in the full championship at Britcar. And there's Keith Gent and Steve Clark's production BMW being wheeled into the paddock. He's also retired out of the race as we shift our attention back to the front of the field. And Keith Robinson's laying a real gauntlet down the inside. He goes of Duncan Cameron and into the lead of the race. A big change there. Keith Robinson very fast in this Ferrari, but struggling with the bumps. And now Aaron Scott fading away. That Lotus, as I said earlier, slightly out of position, pushing very hard with Jamie Stanley. There is the Marcos Mantis.
Neil, great battle out there. You look very hot.
Yeah, that's warm work out there today. The temperature's really gone up in the last couple of hours, so yeah, very hot in there.
But well done. The Marcos is obviously handling the circuit pretty well.
We've got it really well set up. The guys did a lot of work Thursday and testing, and we're really happy with it. It's riding the bumps, which makes such a difference around this track, and it's riding everything out, and we're getting the power down accordingly, and we're doing our job.
There is their teammate, John Harrison, in the pit. Stop-go penalty for the sister Marcos. And now we go on board with the TVR Cigares being lapped by the Marcos, and there's contact between the two. Off into the very long grass goes our onboard camera. And instantly the driver reporting back to the pits. Hopefully not too much damage done. The TVR having a good run. Both of them, in fact, having a good run. Although I'm sure they would wish for better grass in the radiator. That'll overheat the car, so he'll need to go into pits and remove that. Finally in the pits, Aaron Scott has handed over to his teammate Owen Williams. Williams takes the car back out on circuit.
So what happened at the start?
There was a problem with the electrics, the master switch. So I went to switch it on, there was nothing there.
How do you feel when that happens? I mean, you're all ready to go, you're all geared up, and then nothing.
Pretty disappointed.
But you got back out again. What was it like once you were back out there?
It was fine initially, not so bad. I mean, obviously very difficult with the traffic. But main problem I had was I just lost some grip, and I'm not quite sure why. I lost maybe a little bit of power, so we have to have a look at the car after the race and see we didn't have the pace we had yesterday. And the car didn't feel as good as yesterday, but that's racing.
Good racing out on track, despite these guys being different laps down. There is Duncan Cameron lapping our BMW, and on board as well with the TVR Cigares. And in fact, doing a really good job, Duncan Cameron, although the Lotus is going a lot faster and could threaten the second place. There is the Lotus, and a Ginetta off on the side of the track.
Basically, I think after the safety car sort of put my foot down, catching the field with a P3, it was up to P2, and I don't know, I think the black BMW that was chasing, I'm pretty sure he was first in class. I was on his tail as he came through the chicane. Just as if the fuel pump or something is just cut. No power whatsoever. I've tried resets and everything, nothing at all.
Darren, our cameraman, doing an absolutely great job to get an interview on the side of the circuit, despite Gary being pulled off halfway round. Look at how much traffic that these guys are going to contend with. That is now the production Class 1 leader who went through shot there. Wayne Gibson and Steve Clark, and there is the Class 2 leader, the Cox Escort, although the Clio is desperately trying to claw it back. And we're on board with our TVR, and that's not right. There's water being sprayed onto the windscreen. Earlier on, the teammate had a water pump problem, and now potentially Hood and Dowling have also had the same issue.